So this is lakman. It's a Uyghur soup that we wanted to try while we're here. So far it's really good, but we just made it spicy, so we'll see. So I'm here in the State Museum of Uzbekistan, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about how unique this place is, simply because in reality it was the center of its own civilization. Long before Alexander, there was Bronze Age, Stone Age peoples here. Not only was this the center of Zoroastrian civilization, but also there were Buddhist influences, Christians, Greeks, Arabs, Persians. It's really quite incredible. At one point, this was the center of its own civilization that arose here. Khwarazm, Samarkand. Similar to the Mesopotamia, there's two rivers, and in between those two rivers arose an independent civilization. It just so happens that this civilization was in the middle of Asia, and so it accumulated influences from all over the world. Not only, like I said, the Greeks and the Persians, but also the Indians and China and the steppe, Turkic peoples. It's really quite fascinating, and it's something that's not appreciated, that we think of the Silk Road, especially Europeans think of the Silk Road as just a trade route, but that's so inaccurate. A crucial part of the story I want to tell you all is that not only was this the center of its own unique civilization that was organic and independent, but it was conquered by the Persians, and with it came Zoroastrianism. Then it was conquered by the Greeks, and with it came philosophy and rationalism. It became a reservoir for that learning and knowledge for many, many centuries that survived the Arab conquests, the fall of caliphates, the reconquest by the Persians, only to be translated into Arabic and then spread back to Europe. You could make the argument that actually the people here were so used to being conquered by many different cultures that they had a certain resiliency and flexibility to adopting to different belief systems, etc. And actually one really unique thing is that while maybe in Egypt they might have used papyrus to record information, or in China they might have used bamboo, here in Central Asia they had cotton. And cotton is a far superior material with which to make paper, and therefore that knowledge from all these different civilizations was better preserved. By the time of the Arab conquests, the caliphates wanted to accumulate all the knowledge of their empire, and because of the reserves here in Central Asia, the knowledge lost to Europe. The Greek philosophy, the Indian numerals, Chinese astronomy and technology was able to be translated into Arabic and then slowly make its way back to Europe, only to be rediscovered by Europeans. So when we think of the Age of Enlightenment, and when we think of the Renaissance, we might think of cities like Milan or Venice, but in reality, the Age of Enlightenment and the Renaissance started here in Central Asia, in cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, in Merv and Balkh. In fact, the Roman historian Strabo called this the land of 1,000 cities, and that's very fitting because for centuries and centuries this area between two rivers, the Oxus or the Amu Darya and the Sur Darya now, truly was a land of 1,000 cities. In fact, the city Bukhara originally got its name from a Buddhist term that means temple, Bukhara. So you can see that, like I said, not only was this area full of Zoroastrians and Christians and Jews, but also Buddhists. Not only was this knowledge preserved, but it was actually expanded upon. So men like Ibn Sina, Al-Farabi, Al-Khwarazmi, and Al-Biruni were great philosophers, scientists, doctors, astronomers, and they actually advanced our knowledge quite a bit. That's what I was trying to tell you all at the observatory of Ulugh Bek. But I was pretty fried that day, I think. an interesting aspect of this story is basically how these instruments, Greek instruments of navigation, were used on the Central Asian steppe in order not only to navigate the steppe, which is vast and disorienting, but also in the Muslim era to find the direction of Mecca in order to pray. But of course, those instruments and that scientific knowledge isn't only useful in the steppe, but it's also extremely useful in the world oceans, to navigate the oceans and to circumnavigate Africa, perhaps, maybe even cross the Atlantic and discover a new world. Ironically enough, the discovery of the Americas was almost like a shortcut that cut out Central Asia from the world economy, that cut out Central Asia from East and West, where it had historically been situated in to great advantage. But I think, personally, that in the future, this area, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Central Asia, will become a very important part of the world once again. Because of the vast reserves of oil and gas and its strategic position as the Russian Empire fades into the past, this region is going to be the center of attention for a lot of the world's powers. Of course, China, but also India, the United States, and Europe. A new great game is beginning, perhaps. Everything's a trade-off.
Damn, man. There's a balance in everything.
You know, there's this, think of it this way. As soon as you choose one thing, you automatically have chosen against everything else.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's difficult, but you can't be paralyzed by that.
Yeah.
You know, you still have to just make decisions and follow your mind and your
Yeah.
gut and your heart. So
There's a sheer and fierce competition in everywhere. For example, like.
will they come get this, or do we go pay them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.